right?
Let's talk about another one of the religious fundamentalist goons running the state of Indiana, and that is Attorney General Todd Rokita. So this week, on Tuesday, after a weekend that saw 10 people shot across multiple incidents in the Circle City, Attorney General Todd Rokita called for President Donald Trump to invade Indianapolis with the National Guard troops. Rokita begged for the gross overreaction on a Twitter post by Indy FOP President Rick Snyder, a man who truly embodies the phrase, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The Trump regime has previously sent the Guard into Los Angeles, Washington, Chicago, and Memphis, and threatened Portland with the same. Stick a pin in that. We'll come back to it later. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett, his office, issued the following statement in response, quote, "Armed troops on our streets would not make Indianapolis a safer city, and I, as mayor, discourage any request for such an intervention. Improving public safety requires listening to communities and building trust. At a time when over 100,000 Indianapolis residents are facing food insecurity, and when the cost of goods and services residents rely on is skyrocketing, when families are making difficult decisions regarding paying bills or buying their child a toy for the holidays, we are not looking for support in the form of armed troops in our neighborhoods. To further our progress in reducing gun violence, what Indianapolis needs is gun laws that make it harder for young people to obtain firearms, police with greater authority to hold problem bars accountable, and for individuals to stop turning to guns to resolve conflict. The city of Indianapolis remains focused on our gun violence reduction strategy, which has driven significant reductions in criminal, homicides, and non-fatal shootings in our community since 2022." End quote. Now, Ross, again, no one wants to see gun violence. We decry it. You know, a weekend like last where 10 people were shot reflects badly on the city, and it it puts people in danger. A person died last weekend because of that. But the National Guard to come in and take care of that seems like a gross overreaction. I don't know. What am I wrong here?
You're not wrong. Look, we say nobody likes gun violence, and obviously, hopefully, nobody likes gun violence. I mean, I think we could see when there are mass shootings. I think at one point Donald Trump said, "Get over it," So I mean, a lot of Republicans do sort of shrug their shoulders at gun violence because of their precious Second Amendment, right? That well, we can't go too far. But what this reflects is the Fox News, fear machine, which talks to rural white people and tells them that these cities that you've probably never been to are scary war zones. It's like it's like Mad Max up there. So it's easy for those people who rarely if ever go to the city and they see nothing but pictures on the news of violence to convince them that, yeah, look, it's a war zone there, when obviously it's not. And it's all about democratic cities, even in Indiana now. Rokita, talk about unqualified for your job. He has, I don't think he's ever tried a case. But yeah, it goes back to that constant fear mongering. That's if it bleeds, it leads, and constantly telling people that there is violence, and all the things that the mayor talked about are real ways to reduce violence. And I would also point out, if we want to start talking about that, the top 10 states for murder per capita are all red states. So it is not a blue state problem. It is not a Democratic city problem. There is violence in small town America. There is violence in Missouri. There is violence in Mississippi. There is violence in, Sweet Home Alabama. So, I think one of the things that people have to do is show those folks, if they're willing to listen, that listen, yes, there is violence, and we need to curb that violence. But these cities are not. I'm in Indianapolis almost every day, and have yet to see gangs of New York.
It seems that like the only solution these folks have for anything is just more guns, more violence, more troops. It's this perpetual cycle where God forbid we address anything upstream. We don't address the root causes of violence. We don't address poverty. We don't address access to guns. It's just more police, more more than police,
Yeah.
right? We start bringing troops into the streets,
And it's never worked, right? It's never worked. You look at the war on drugs from the 1970s forward, it's never worked. But it politically, it's very easy to say to people, well, if we were just tougher, if we just got tougher, if the law, as if anybody who chooses to operate in the black market for drugs is thinking about that outcome. They're thinking about making money, and they're willing to trade that off. If they had better opportunities to make money in another way, that's something they're going to consider. But it's so easy to again and again, and we see it, and that's why our prisons are overcrowded. That's why the United States has 25% of the prisoners in the world. We used to, when I was a kid, we used to mock China by saying, "Oh my God, look how many people they have in prison. It's a police state." We
All right.
dwarf China now. We dwarf China now. We incarcerate people at ridiculous levels because politically it's so easy to say I'm tougher on crime, and the solution is to be tougher, even though it's stupid and it's never worked.
right. And yeah, this is a country that's got 3, 4 times the population of the United States. If our incarceration rates were even remotely commensurate, there is no way we should have more people locked up than they do in China. Leslie, we got you back okay? Can you hear me? Can I hear
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. I can definitely
Okay.
hear you. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry.
So listen, we don't want to address these root causes, but private prisons, the arms industry, capital has got to love just pouring more and more resources at our problems, right? I mean, who needs to solve anything when you can throw money at it?
Well, they make money from keeping people in prison, but the real issue is income inequality and gender inequality, oppression, all these things. If we would tax the rich and redistribute resources so that people who need help can get help, I think we would have a lot less crime to begin with. But just like, for instance, I don't know if I think it was Denmark or Finland, one of those countries had found giving people who were unhoused money, kept a lot of them, they were able to get back on their feet. Like you were talking, Russ, about how people can't even afford a $400 emergency bill. And what drives crime often is just desperation. And we need to take caring for our communities more seriously. But yes, when unscrupulous people realize they can make a lot of money by keeping people in prison, I think that's tough. That's tough. I mean, it's really like.
Oh, Leslie's fading out.
Oh,
So unfortunately, we don't get to hear the end of that thought. But